Ben is on the road making content for you with his podcast in a bag. Hello, my name is Ben.
And my name is Aunt Norah.
And we are the hosts this week of the Too Vague podcast. This show is special. We're going to do a special shout out to Chris, who doesn't know anything about the word. Well, he doesn't know how magnetism works. But we're going to hopefully tell some stories about magnetism, right?
Right.
And so I know you taught magnetism to your students. You taught, what, 6th grade?
6th grade,
yeah.
Yes.
Is there anything is that what you think about when you think about magnetism, or do you think about anything else?
Generally, I think about what I taught in 6th grade. I almost wish you wouldn't have said that because it's embarrassing how much I've forgotten.
Oh.
And truly, I know we made little motors with, was it magnets and copper wire?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And things like that. But it's been 11 years.
Yeah.
And I have forgotten
a
lot. But I remember little bits.
That's
I do
good.
think of magnets. And what magnetism to me is magnets and attraction or repelling.
Right. And we got into a little bit of a discussion earlier about when someone says that they've got a magnetic personality. Usually the definition involves attracting people and not another part of magnetism, which is repelling.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's kind of an interesting thing. So from now on, I'm going to refer to people as having, if they have magnetic personalities, people who are jerks too, in addition to people who are who have a little bit of gravitas, so as it were.
Okay.
We're not talking about gravity on this show. We're talking about magnetism.
I taught gravity too.
Oh, okay. Well, just keep on digging that hole, because we'll have you on more times. So when you taught magnetism, was it in the realm of math, or is this you did like earth sciences or science?
General science.
General science? Yeah. And you did little experiments with, you said, magnets and coils and stuff like that?
Partly, and balloons.
Yeah. Oh, balloons too. Static?
Yeah,
like static. Yeah.
Which it works
same way. So when you're talking magnetism, what are you talking about when you're talking about a pole as it refers to a magnet?
Positive and negative.
Right.
That's basically what I think of with magnets.
Right.
I mean, there's positive and a negative, and it's kind of confusing if you think of a horseshoe magnet.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're both negative, I think. And where's the positive?
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. But if you think of a stick magnet, they're fun to play with.
Right.
Because you can make them snap together, or you can make them repel.
Right.
You know.
One thing I remember with magnets, these magnetic field diagrams that you can make with something like a horseshoe magnet, and how the vectors work in a what?
6th grade science.
Okay, sorry. Yeah,
I did take physics in college. I took mechanics, which was physics 101. But then I did not go on to anything else in physics.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, magnetic fields are kind of interesting looking. One thing I know, this is going to be ridiculous, when I think of magnetism, I think of the book Rules of Attraction by Bret Easton Ellis.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Bret Easton Ellis?
I'm familiar with him.
Yeah.
Rules of Attraction, I'm not.
It was his second book. First book being Less Than Zero.
Oh, okay.
And then the second book, Rules of Attraction, and then the third book, American Psycho. And it generally had to do with all the same spoiled rich kids in the same, clique. Rich kids basically ruining their life. I think that's what Bret Easton Ellis just writes about.
Could be. Certainly did in the first one.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if the people on the listening to the podcast can hear me nodding, because I'm sitting here nodding at almost everything Ben says.
We can't see you nodding when we can't hear you nodding.
I can't stop it. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll just assume that everything I say you think is brilliant. So we can put that in there as a disclaimer. Norah agrees with everything I say because I'm her favorite nephew.
I was going to start with some disclaimers, but I forgot about them. So, well, he's the favorite nephew sitting across the table from me right now.
Right. That's good. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Good save. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Refrigerator magnets.
What I think of when you say refrigerator magnets are souvenirs that you give to people because your refrigerator already is full of them.
Right.
But it's a wonderful, wonderful souvenir.
Right.
That's
I remember your mother had a lot of refrigerator magnets.
I have them in a bag somewhere.
Oh, you really? Like the whole, like all of them?
Most of them.
Yeah. Some of them, even when I was younger, were pretty old.
Yeah.
They were like falling apart a little bit. But that's one of the main things about Grandma's refrigerator, full of magnets.
It was.
Did you ever have you ever gotten those magnetic poetry? Have you ever been gifted a magnet? Yeah.
I have. It's a tiny box, so.
Right.
It was for like little refrigerator things, very small.
Right. Michaela got me one that was a sexual innuendo one where it's,
Remember, you're talking to your aunt.
Oh, sorry. But she thought that was funny. But they've got other different themed ones. But this one had like eggplant and, pole and all sorts of stuff on it.
Yeah.
So.
No, this one is just sweet little words.
Sweet little words. You like words. You're a word person.
I love words.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that something you got from Grandma, you think?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Vocabulary, when we were babies, we had a vast vocabulary.
Right.
So she was good at that.
Did you kind of pick it up from her just through regular conversation and stuff? Or did she like do editing on your papers like she did
too?
for...
That too. Actually, she didn't. She just proofread for grammar and spelling.
Oh, okay. So you guys were perfect in those areas just because Grandma was a proofreader.
I noticed you say guys like it's plural.
Well, you guys.
I was perfect.
Okay.
No.
I don't know if would Dad have his notes. His papers, because I wouldn't.
I don't remember her ever going over his stuff.
What about Tom?
Same as me, because we were same class.
Yeah. How was that?
We were in different classes almost all the time.
Okay, so it wasn't.
To me, that
bad.
was good.
Yeah, I don't know what I would have done had I been in high school with my brother. I mean, not in a bad way. It's just
right.
You're trying to establish your own identity, and it's kind of hard when you've got a sibling there, right?
I was glad when we moved out to the country. Ben's father, Ed, went to one high school, and then by the time my other brother and I went to high school, they had changed the lines, and we went to another high school. And I was really happy about that. So,
yeah. Dad got into some mischief. We'll just leave it at that.
He did. Also, he was one of those that was so intelligent that teachers, would say, "Oh, you're not like your brother," kind of thing. And that was, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I was the first one, so I didn't have to deal with that. I was the first one in my high school. I don't know how much Adam got from that of me. Magnetic poetry. Yeah. Do you have any magnetic door latches?
I've had them.
Right.
No, I don't think I do in my new place.
Right.
So they're all just regular latches.
I have to put some in after.
Do you think That'll be strong enough?
Yeah, well, these are specific childproof magnetic latches.
Okay.
So it's like the magnet, the podcat Mango is the problem child.
Yeah.
And he will go through everything if you leave it open. And I've got a couple of them already locked up right now, but recently he's opened some drawers that he shouldn't have opened. So there are these childproof locks that if you put, basically it'll latch, you put it on the side and it will lock it. So when you pull it, it's not going to move, right? Okay. Until you wave the magnet over that piece, and then it'll pull the latch in, and then you can pull it open. So unless Mango develops the ability to manipulate a magnet with his paws, which may happen.
Yeah.
I mean, he did turn on a stove once.
Yes.
So
I hear.
Yeah.
You do have like fire smoke alarms and everything in your house, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah, fortunately it was an electric stove, so didn't have to.
Okay.
It just got the weird smell. That was about it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Me too. I was going to say something and I forgot what. That's what happens when you're older.
What?
I was going to say something and I can't remember what it was.
Was it about magnets?
Might have been. Oh, well.
Okay. Well, and on that note, let's learn about magnets.
Okay.
So, what can you tell us about magnets? Specifically, what can you tell Chris about magnets? Because he made a comment that he doesn't know how magnetism works.
Correct.
So I thought if we could start with a 6th grade level overview of magnetism, that might help him.
Yeah. It might even be less than 6th grade. But anyway, Chris, you know that everything is made up of atoms, right? Atom. And atoms are made up of 3 parts. I'm sounding pretty condescending or something?
No. You just sound like a teacher.
Yeah. Okay.
So then, yes, you are sounding very condescending.
Yep.
Not in a bad way, just in a teacher way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Can't get rid of it. The 3 parts of an atom are nucleus, proton, and electron. And the nucleus is in the center, and the protons are all around it.
Wait, what is a neutron?
Oh, come on, Ben. It has.
It's in the center, right?
It's in the center, and it doesn't have a charge.
Right.
And the other 2 have charges.
Okay.
And the proton has positive charge.
Okay.
And the electron, the other one, I don't know if I got a chance to say it, the electron has a negative charge.
Okay.
And that's important because the positive and the negative charges are what kind of work magnetism.
Mm-hmm.
Opposites attract,
right?
Kind of thing. So if you have something that has a lot of negatives or electrons in one place, it'll attract something, or if you put something close to it, the protons kind of move to the front to attract to the electrons.
Okay.
Can I draw a picture for somebody?
You can't draw a picture on a podcast, unfortunately. We're not quite there yet.
I'm so much better with a picture.
I've been to some parties where I've had some involvement with some electrons.
Negatives.
Not fun. Yeah, exactly. Keep away from those guys.
Well, if you try to, watch out. If you try to put electrons up against electrons, the same against, then they
repel.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what does that
Actually,
say?
that's pretty much parties in general. Are just a whole bunch of electrons.
What does that say about you, though?
I just don't like parties. That's what it says about me. I'm not a drinker.
You're not an electron.
No, I'm not an electron.
Okay.
I probably am probably a proton or a neutron. I don't know. What am I?
A neutron.
Am I?
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty positive. I'd say as far as my outlook,
Oh.
I'm a proton.
You're right. You are very positive. Yeah. I think so.
I used to be an electron as far as my attitude. Now I'm a proton.
Well, those electrons move, let me tell
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
The neutrons and the protons just sort of hang around.
Right.
And the
Hang around the center.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And the electrons spin
Okay.
or rotate or whatever around that. And so the electrons can move. Yeah, when the electrons find the protons, they attract and connect.
Okay.
And they kind of seek out the opposite. It's similar. Okay, static electricity. You've probably done things with static electricity, like take a balloon and rub it against your hair,
Right.
and stick it on a wall, and it stays there,
Right.
unless you have strange hair. Hair seems to be something that works really well. Like you can rub it on your skin, and it'll work a little, but not as much. So what's happening when you rub it on the balloon on your hair? It makes all the electrons in the balloon go to the surface. The protons are
The surface of the balloon.
Balloon, yes. And so what happens when you get near a wall, as the electrons get near the wall, it repels the electrons on the surface of the wall.
Okay.
And that means the protons come forward, or are forward because the electrons move back. And that's why they stick together.
They attach, the balloon attaches to the wall.
Yeah, now that's just temporary magnetism.
Right.
But it is magnetism.
So what happens when I shuffle on the floor with my socks? And then you sneak up behind someone, and then you zap them.
It's a very similar thing.
Has nothing to do with magnetism, but it does have to do with...
It does, because it has to do with the electrons, and what you're doing when you rub, it makes the electrons, come to the surface, come forth. And
it charges you. You have a charge. You're holding a charge, right?
And when you try and touch somebody or a doorknob or whatever, the protons or the electron actually jumps to the proton before you can get to the door or the person.
Right.
And that's what you feel. It's like lightning and the thunderstorms.
Right.
They're the same thing. When you see lightning, it's the electrons in the clouds looking for a positive charge, and they find it in tall metal buildings or golf clubs on a golf course. Seriously,
or golfers' heads.
Well, I don't know if they're metal, but
well, it depends, right?
If you have metal on you,
right.
But anyway, they are seeking the protons that are on the ground, in the buildings, and that's why lightning rods are good, because lightning rods will attract the lightning,
right.
the electrons, and diffuse it so it doesn't hit your house,
right.
or your barn.
Why don't they have lightning rods on golf courses?
Because
or do they?
Big, I don't know.
I mean, that would make sense to me if there's a lot of
there's so much open
lightning
space.
strike. Yeah.
Too much open space, I think. Because if there's a lightning rod somewhere, it's not going to take care of the other 17 holes.
That's true.
So,
or maybe just something in the ground that could attract lightning or something that you wouldn't have to. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm sure the electricity does travel through things.
All right. I think the world needs less golfers, so let's just leave that where it is.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm kidding.
Sorry.
I'm kidding. Golfers are fine.
I'm not. But except
except miniature golf. Miniature golf's cool.
My late husband was a great golfer, and he loved it. He liked to teach people, what to do, and then it hurt his back. I mean, it really messed up his back.
Yeah.
So I never liked it.
Well, that's the thing with with anything. If you don't stretch as you're getting older, like back when you were in your younger days.
I think you have to admit you're getting older first.
Yeah,
That's
a problem.
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting older. I definitely feel it.
Yeah.
But
we all are. Now
and on that note,
on the downside,
I am going to bring up something that is not game related first before we move on to video game related stuff.
Sorry, I'm laughing at my video games.
Oh, well, there is a story involved with one of these things that's a video game story that involves you, actually.
Okay.
When I first moved to Tucson. But before we get to that, we've got... You remember that little toy that was a person's face, and then you had the little shavings?
Yes.
And then you used the magnet to drag the little shavings all over to make them like have a beard or a mohawk or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. That was called, the original one was called Wooly Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it debuted, you're a boomer, right? A baby boomer.
One of the first.
Yeah. So that means that this is around the time the baby boomer generation got the first Wooly Willies.
Yes.
Which sounds naughty. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Wooly Willies. That's what shaving cream's for. Anyway, so let's go.
Jeez.
So we're going to go with, there was the Smethport Specialty Company in Smethport, Pennsylvania. They have sold, since they were introduced back in 1955, more than 75 million units.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. It's a very popular... I remember in the 70s having one of these little things.
I think you can still get them.
Yeah. I think a different company holds the rights to it now.
Right.
But yeah, I remember those. Those were fun.
They were.
Yeah.
More than just making beards and mohawks. I mean, it's fun to put like eyebrows that go around your eyeballs.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that.
Right. Right.
Maybe a little
really furry eyebrows.
Yeah. Or steel filings coming out of your nose.
Ooh, that's pretty bad.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah. Oh well, we were weird kids.
Yeah.
You know, you're one of them.
Well, I've come from the same lineage, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you think that kind of stuff is? There's got to be a part of it that's learned and a part of it that is genetic, right? You think?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do. I think a lot of it is nurture, learned.
Right.
But I also think there's some little genetic thing that hangs on.
Right. Like the brains of a certain family tree work in a certain way, as they go down. And,
right. They do get they get watered down.
Right. Diluted.
Thank you. That's it. The genetics pass down through the ages, but they get diluted. So there's less than our ancestors might have had of whatever it is.
But there's also a combination, right, that occurs, right? So whatever ggets combined.
Right. Like if both of your parents are smart Alex,
right,
then you're more likely to be a smart Alex. Yeah,
I think I got that from my father.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
That would be the one,
Yeah. Do you need to check it?
No. What it was is a weather alert.
Oh, boy.
Beach hazard statement.
Okay.
For Chicago.
What's the beach hazard? Waves?
Waves and like riptides and stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So we won't go to the beach.
Right. I don't think that was ever in question, but do you?
No. Although I do live across the street from it.
Right.
We could.
Yeah, we could.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. The one other thing I wanted to tell you about Wooly Willie. You know what the price tag on Wooly Willie was? Boy, that is a mouthful. Do you know what the price on the Wooly Willie was when it was released? Do you want to try that?
No.
No. Okay.
No. 89 cents?
No. Lower. 29 cents.
Wow.
Right. Back in 1955.
I almost could have afforded that myself after a month of saving.
Oh, yeah. Were you one of these people with the piggy bank?
Yeah, but nothing was in it. It was all in my brother Tom's piggy bank. He saved and I gave him things.
Okay.
But, okay.
He's a saver.
Yes.
I'll just leave it at that. He's a saver.
Yeah, right.
So the story I was going to tell you about, as far as we transition into video games, there is a story from when you visited me when I just moved to Tucson. We went to, I think it was the Elcon Mall, and we played pinball for hours after we had some dinner. And we played, I believe it was Twilight Zone. That kind of leads me to the Magna save. Are you familiar with the Magna save on pinball?
It sounds like there's something magnetic.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
Sucks the ball and then lets it go.
Right. So there was the first pinball machine that had this the Magna save, which was patented by Williams Electronics, and it used an electromagnet to attract the ball to it. You have your outer lane, which goes down the drain, right?
Right.
But if you use the Magna save, you could pull it out just as it was going down, and it would pull it to the side that had the one that goes to the flipper, the lane that went to the flipper.
Okay.
And you would accumulate those during the game when you would accomplish certain tasks, like eliminating a bank of targets or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, Black Knight was the first game to have that in it. It was released in 1980 by Williams Electronics. You probably don't remember it.
I don't. I played pinball. I started playing pinball in the late 60s, early 70s. Remember, I'm old. And it was so much fun. I just loved it. I loved all the noise and all the things you could do.
Right.
I don't remember the magnet thing.
Right. Well, that was because it didn't get invented until much later.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of things with physics and math, right?
Yeah.
Angle of incident and angle of reflection. Is that something that right? It's like you like pool, right?
Oh yeah. Reflection and all those. I can't remember. Yeah.
So pinballs, magnets. There are other interesting uses in pinball machines later on by Williams that used magnets to make the ball float across the playfield and things like that. And in the Twilight Zone game, there was a ball that was not magnetic, or it wasn't made out of steel. It was made out of a plasticky thing. So if you got that ball, not only was the weight different and the way it bounced off of things was different, it was also, you couldn't save it from going down the drain.
Oh, yeah.
So
it had its pluses, but it had that one minus.
Right.
Yeah.
So, a lot of creative magnet things. But then also in video games, one thing that I remember when I briefly worked at a arcade when I was younger. And you're familiar with degaussing?
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
Don't ask me. I can spell it.
Okay. You know that Gauss is a unit of magnetic flux, right? That's what it is?
He's a person, too.
Yeah, he is. Carl Friedrich Gauss.
Yes.
German mathematician and physicist.
Yes.
Most CRTs... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just going, oh, yeah, about things.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, just chime in if you've got anything about...
No.
Like cathode ray tubes.
See, I'd love to say, remember, mechanics is as far as I went, but probably some of this has to do with mechanics.
Yeah, there are some applications for degaussing in, I believe, World War II, where ships and mines, they would have things that would basically repel the mines. And it was a degaussing kind of thing where it would remove the charge, so it wouldn't attract these mines and stuff. And there was technology on either side, but a lot of it was very, very expensive to use. So, and I don't know how many mines we've got going on these days. I've never.
Neither do I.
Yeah, but land mines.
Yeah, I guess there's still some of those around, old ones, and I imagine there's some new ones someplace.
Water mines.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what it was, but you can't repel a land mine, but you can decharge it.
Right.
Yeah, maybe.
Unless it's a strong enough charge that could push it through the earth. No.
That would be China's problem, wouldn't it?
And just push them all there.
Yeah.
But anyway, the degaussing thing, we used to have, it was a common thing for televisions, for cathode ray tubes, to basically hold a charge and things like that. So there was like a thin copper wire around it that would basically take away the charge and not alter the picture. So problem with having things that wasn't degaussed was that the charge would impact the way the picture looked. So most televisions had those built in. So when you turned it on, it would eliminate the charge with the degaussing mechanism around. But in earlier arcade games, since it was a little more expensive for that, you had an independent degaussing coil. Machines that stayed in the same spot, unless you moved other machines around it and it changed the magnetic field, it would remain, the same.
Okay.
In general, when you had to move a video game from one location of the arcade to another, you would have to degauss the screen because it didn't have a built-in degaussing mechanism in the CRT. So you would have this big coil that you'd plug in. It was about the size of a basketball or a large frisbee, like a frisbee and a half across. Okay. And you would basically rub this, not rub it, but you would wave it over the CRT to eliminate the charge and make the picture clear. Because if you left it without, just moved it from one part of the arcade to another, that was a different electrical field. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Yeah, it
but
is.
It's and it's probably above my pay grade. I don't.
Is it like a copper wire kind
of
thing?
Yeah, it is a copper wire.
Because that's so conducive.
Right. And that's what the most of the built-in mechanisms of televisions of that day. We don't have to worry about that anymore.
I hope not.
We're living in the future now.
Yeah, now what we have to worry about is getting rid of old TVs.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of pollution and
right. And nobody wants them.
Right.
So probably because they're not degaussed anymore. Who knows?
No, I don't think that's the I think it has to do with the contents of said television being like
large and heavy.
Well, there's large and heavy, but there's also chemicals and things that we need to dispose of properly in order to, not pollute.
Do we?
Well,
okay.
I don't know. I'm going to live on this planet. I don't know. Maybe, I don't want to say that. I don't want to set myself up and say I'm going to be on this planet longer than you because that's good. That could. Well, you never know.
All right.
I don't want to. Send those vibes out. Yeah,
knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Excellent. You can see that is excellent through the microphone. Knocking on wood. That'll work.
Okay.
But just nodding does not work.
Right. And I keep doing that. In case anybody's interested, I keep nodding or shaking my head.
Right. And if I say anything, she's going to tell me I'm wrong.
No. Because, talk about a disclaimer. I used to be smart. And
come on.
And now I'm older.
No. You are a master of trivia.
I have retained my sense of humor also.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, so that's my little old school CRT story. Like I said, above my pay grade, the way magnetic fields work, right? And the way things like you draw magnetic field sort of diagrams to show where charges are strongest in and how the electrons are flowing within that magnetic field. But that's something like when I took my physics classes, we kind of touched on that and the math on that, but I don't remember any of it. I don't remember a lot of it. I just remember it exists. So, in theory, it makes sense that an arcade, which had, how many electronic things in it, they all have to hold a charge at some point. So,
how often did you have to degauss a specific game?
Usually, only when we moved things was the only time.
Okay.
If the CRT was acting up and looking strange, then we just did it just to make sure. But then as the newer games came out, they started using the built-in things. These are like your older games, like your Pac-Man and your Galaxian and all these like super old games.
Hey. Ones that Pong. How about Pong?
Yeah, probably for Pong you'd have to do it too.
Oh dear.
Did you used to play Pong?
Yes.
Yeah. In the arcade? No.
The only thing I played in arcades was pinball.
Okay. That's the only thing worth playing in arcades. I think.
I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
So, well, I was.
I seem to remember you were pretty good at it, so I had a feeling you were a pinball wizard or whatever when you were younger.
I think so, but then I also think other things that aren't necessarily true.
Like what?
I don't know. See, I told you my brain is fish food or something.
Listen, if you've listened to any of the number of shows where I couldn't think of things, you know that my brain works the same way.
Well, I do have 24 years on you.
Yeah, that's true.
25.
That's true.
Yeah.
You grew up in Indiana, right?
Yes.
So, were you aware that pinball was illegal in Chicago?
No.
Yeah, pinball was illegal in Chicago until roughly 1976, I want to say.
Why?
Because pinball machines and things during Prohibition, you had your gangsters of Chicago and things, and gangsters in various big cities had a lot of those confiscated from them. So there was an association as it relates to the mob.
Yeah.
So for the longest time, those things were illegal in bigger cities.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. It is like gang related. Old-fashioned gangs.
Right.
Yeah.
I forget who the guy was, but he went to a court. He basically played pinball in court to prove in a New York court that pinball was a game of skill and not a game of chance, which to me, there's no question.
Right.
But I mean,
Right.
Interesting pinball trivia.
Yeah, that is.
So what are your favorite magnet video games?
Does cute cats count?
No.
Oh.
Only if they're magnetic. Actually, when they rub up against you, they can
That's true.
They can hold a charge.
That's true. I wonder if I take my computer screen and rub it up against my hair.
Yeah.
If the cute cats will have their hair stick out.
Oh, you could do that. Yeah.
That would make it magnetic.
That would make it magnetic.
I'm sorry.
Cats are negatively charged, right? No, not you. Anyway, they're not negatively charged. They're super cute.
Yes.
They just are more...
Their hair really, if you rub a balloon on their hair, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Charges it really bad.
Well, that's good.
I mean, a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there are a couple of games I want to mention before we close the episode.
Aww.
You're like... You're a little nervous about the whole thing, and now it's like now that it's close to over, you're like, oh. I'm going to ask you if you're familiar with this, even though I'm pretty sure you're not. But the game Portal.
Not a game, no.
No, there was a game called Portal, which is kind of there's a game called Half-Life that this company made, which is more of a first-person shooter kind of game. But there's sort of a side story called Portal, where you are trying to escape this maze that a computer named Gladys, who keeps on telling you that you will celebrate at the end when you figure out how to get to the end of this maze with cake and stuff.
Okay.
She's got a very unique kind of voice, too. But anyway, in Portal, you use these portal guns that basically you solve puzzles by using an entry and an exit portal kind of like thing, where it's like you can specify where you go into the portal and then where you would come out of the portal by putting, different colored portals there.
Okay.
And you solve different interesting puzzles that way.
Do you go through a big circle into another area?
You got to figure out how to get there. You can so there are certain things where you each level has its own rules in general. There's some where if you fall through a portal, then you would exit another portal. So like let's say there's one portal here and there's one portal over there where I can't jump to. I would want to shoot the portal on something over there that would allow me to transfer myself over there. And there are other things where it's like you can get objects, right? There's an object over there, and if I shoot a portal underneath the object, it'll fall through and come to me, right? Okay. There are a whole bunch of different ways to solve these puzzles, but it's like a three-dimensional kind of puzzle game, essentially. But there is one that came out in 2013 that I think is similar to this, but it was called Magrunner Dark Pulse. That was sort of kind of a take on that, but it uses magnetic pulses and things like that, so you can change magnetic fields and things that like platforms that go across tracks. But based on where you place these magnetic fields, it will either speed you up or slow you down because of the magnetic field as you enter.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, and I'm surprised there aren't many other games that use it. When I say platform game, are you familiar with what that is? No. Oh. Okay, so platform.
Does it not have water levels?
Well, Chris is listening to this. I don't think you want to bring up water level. Okay. But it does. No. It possibly has water levels, and that's the thing. Like Mario, like Super Mario Brothers, like a 2D platformer. It was called a platformer because that's what you jump from platform to platform. You're basically trying to find a way to get from point A to point B by maneuvering. Yeah. And generally, what they give credit for being the first platform game is Super Mario Brothers. Yeah. But if you call it a 3D platformer, it's similar. It's like anytime you're trying to navigate and you're trying to get from point to solve puzzles or get to another point for a mission. It's a platformer in general. It's these days it's a very vague term. This one that I had for the Dreamcast that came out was by a company named Genki. I think that's how you pronounce it, Genki, Genki, in 1999. This company was I believe they were a part of Sega initially, and then a couple designers left. But they were big into racing games. They made a lot of racing type games. And Super Magnetic Neo was a 3D platformer that they made involving magnetics, where you would basically attract and repel enemies based on the color of, what they were, and then how your character, your little character with a magnet head, like one of the, you said the U magnet. That was basically his head was like a U magnet.
Okay.
Right. So he had a flat head, like a flat top.
Yeah.
But you would change your polarity to either attract or repel things or objects and solve various puzzles. Yeah. And as crazy as the Magrunner game. The Magrunner game was kind of a weird story too. The dynamics of this thing were pretty amazing. Like as far as the game mechanics and dynamics, interesting. But the story involved. I'm sorry, I'm bouncing between two games. But Magrunner, Magnetism, and H.P. Lovecraft. They had this Cthulhu sort of theme where you would start out and the first levels were, like very, very pristine and very futuristic looking. But as you kind of went through this, you found that there was this dark force that was kind of a part of the story, and it was just kind of a twisted, weird story. Not voiced very well. I don't think that... I looked at some videos, and the acting was...
Okay.
I probably could have done a better job.
Well, yeah. But I could see the twisted dark with...
yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
H.P. Lovecraft.
Right. I mean, yeah. It's H.P. Lovecraft. This is probably how they pitched it in the pitch meeting. It was just like, it's H.P. Lovecraft with magnets. Huh?
Yeah.
That's probably how they did it.
Yeah.
Super Magnetic Neo was not H.P. Lovecraft. It was very, very much a kid's looking game. They had to change the U.S. version. Here's the thing. Mm-hmm. When you have Japanese games, they always think that they're too difficult for us, right? So they make them easier. So usually the U.S. versions of a lot of Japanese games, and I think that's changed now with things like people like to be challenged as far as their games now. So they pretty much leave them the same. But back in the day, man, we were horrible. So we wanted easy games.
Yeah.
So this was one of the ones that was a tough game when you got into it. Even the U.S. version was a little tough as far as figuring out all the puzzles and the timing, but it was fun. It was really fun.
I have a question about the tough games and
the
toughness of it.
Right.
In some of the simple little things I play, they have a Zen, they call it, Zen level.
Yeah.
Which is just like, nah, I don't want to try and beat time. No, I don't want to, try and get the highest score. I just want to click on things and let it keep going.
Right.
And relax. Do they ever have anything like that on?
Oh, yeah. They definitely do.
Okay.
A lot of different games. This is a little bit different. It depends on what game we're talking about. But there are games, like even the games that I play that are like first-person story-based games will have what's called like a story mode, where it's so easy because you're just focusing on the story. So you don't want any challenge. You just want to kind of go through the game dynamics and stuff. The podcast I listen to, What's Good Games, they have they call it baby ass baby mode.
Okay, yeah. That's what I'm looking for.
So that's what they like. They like that. So there are a lot of games out there that do have those story modes because that appeals to some people. They just want to play it for the story. They just want to get the story, and they don't want any of the crazy challenges.
Not too many. A little bit maybe, but
okay. And then you can bump it up. Usually, I mean, most of them where you start a story mode, these days you can change the level of difficulty on the fly.
Okay. Well, my question now is, I've talked about the game Hitman.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't played it yet, but it's so interesting to be able to kill people different ways.
Right.
Do they have a story Zen mode?
They do have. I mean, okay, so they have a normal difficulty. Yeah, it's a stealth based game, so they can't make it like super easy.
Yeah.
And plus the story.
No
Chris
story.
Well, it's a Hitman. It's a Hitman story. That's what you're trying to. For me. And Chris is not going to like me for saying this, but the story to me is secondary to the game dynamics. The gameplay itself is the interesting part, right? You're trying to figure these things out. The story and the cutscenes is just basically you're a hitman trying to escape this evil corporation that's trying to control you. It's just like every other type of Hitman movie or game or whatever. It's not very compelling to me.
Okay, yeah.
You're introduced to some characters and there are some twists, but that's not why I play Hitman. I play Hitman for like the figuring out the creative ways of doing all the different things and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, there is. Most games will have like a normal mode or an easy mode, but I mean, part of the challenge of Hitman is trying to do things and in a very sneaky sort of way and.
Right.
So yeah, I mean that would be pretty cool if you played it.
I'm interested in trying it.
Yeah, it's generally on consoles. I think it might be.
Okay.
Yeah, you might be able to get it on a PC, but you have to have a pretty nice PC to play it.
And mine's a pleasant little, sweet little PC.
It's a quaint PC.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you ever get a PlayStation 4 or 5, which just came out,
Okay.
that would be maybe the next time I come over, I should bring my PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can check it out.
Yeah.
And then I can watch you try and kill people.
Yeah.
Which is,
I know it sounds out of character for me, but
No, and that's part of the interesting thing. It's a fictional world. I don't know. Remember back in your day,
yes.
when they said that violence on TV
Oh yeah.
was it was causing all these problems,
Right,
and then
right.
it changed into violence in music, and then it changed to violence in video games, and
Definitely.
it's there's no doubt that things, or books even, right? There was violence in books that was so graphic, and
Yeah.
People can be influenced by those things too. It's just
Right.
the latest technology is what they use as a scapegoat.
Right.
But if you're a well-balanced human, which I think you are,
Sometimes.
I'm just gonna.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. But it's just like a challenging. It's a puzzle, right? It's not about the killing people with a banana.
Right,
But if you
right.
kill the people with a banana and they're assholes and they deserve to be killed with a banana.
You feel good a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. I mean, these guys, the guys you kill in the game are pretty scummy.
Okay.
So,
Reprehensible.
yeah.
Is it?
Oh, ooh. Yeah, reprehensible. That's a good one.
They're in my brain. I just can't always
Access them?
Yeah, access the words.
Yeah. Do you have the little the look that you give where it's like accessing,
No.
or loading,
No.
dot.
It's usually won't access.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super Magnetic Neo also featured an interesting villain. Was Pinky, which was an evil toddler.
Oh.
Yeah, like a little toddler that looked kind of like Mickey Mouse ears and had like a little
Okay.
pacifier,
Okay.
but was evil. So, but anyway, do you have anything to add about magnetism?
Only Chris. I hope I've helped you. May I call you Chris?
Touche.
My pseudo nephew, Chris. Yeah. Well, I hope you understand magnetism now, and you don't have to take a physics. Oh, you probably already took all those classes.
Yeah.
But I enjoy your conversations with Ben. Hello, my name is Ben.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello, this guy.
Yeah.
What has two thumbs and his name is Ben. This guy.
But anyway, I tried to explain magnetism.
No, I think you did a good job. I think it was good.
as simply as possible.
Yeah.
So
It's all about positives and negatives.
yeah, it is.
If you don't have anything to add about magnetism.
Nope.
Okay, well then that would be the end of our show. So this has been Ben
And Aunt Norah.
and Aunt Norah. Yes, for an excellent discussion about magnetism and magnetism in video games. So we'll see you next time when we're going to be talking about something else. Okay. See you later. Bye.
Bye.